Good morning, everybody. Kevin here with Pellegrino Walk. Wanted to do a quick interlude, intermission, so to speak, of just some of the stuff and ways in which we've been wrapping up the series. But just a quick video. Um, During the time, really in the last couple months, as I've been digging into specifically the Men of the Great Communion Revival, it's taken my energies and all my focus away from just normal study and normal reading. But it's amazing as you get a little freed up, you go back to what you were looking at before, and once again going back to one of the books that I was reading. Obviously, I've been reading Steve Montgomery's book Converging Apostasy for a long time, and I keep going back to it and use it as a reference for a lot of the esoteric streams that we're seeing and all this convergence that we're seeing in the church today. And so, just going back to what he calls a quick outline of hands on eschatology, a matter of timing and agency, I really recommend this book, and I would recommend this first. I think I've got the Kindle version is maybe 60 some odd pages. It's fairly short and to the point and gives it the whole history of the problem that we're dealing with um, over a particular timeline, themes, and people and movements that have really brought the theology, the methodology, the culture that we're seeing, all of it kind of is highlighted in this book. So it's a good starting place. So I'm going to recommend that. Put it in the description as I did on the last video as well. But just a couple of thoughts from his book that I wanted to emphasize, and I wanted to encourage everyone. If this seems overwhelming, it can be at first. But our connection to Dean Briggs, our connection to these movements, our connection to IHOP-KC caused us to dig in on stuff that we knew nothing about a couple years ago. So I just encourage everybody with this apostasy that's before us, with this convergence that's before us, dig in for yourselves, for the people that are around you, so that we can do as Jesus said about the fig tree. We're going to look at the fig tree. We're going to look at the branches when they become tender and it puts forth leaves, and you'll know that the time is near. So we're doing that. But first of all, I want to talk about what Steve calls hands-on eschatology. And we've alluded to this in some of our previous videos, but what he calls hands-on eschatology is an extreme form of post-millennialism that runs contrary to the providence of God. Obviously, providence of God, sovereignty of God. He is in control, not us. This means that it attempts to immanentize the eschaton. So the eschaton is the end of the age, the culmination of everything, and it speeds it up. It brings it from the end under the providence of God and right into our laps right now. This is what we've been saying in the videos. This is what's happening out there in these movements that we've been highlighting. So, with that in mind, he gives an example. In other words, to inaugurate a utopian kingdom of God or new age through human effort. This has been our big point. This is what they're doing. And as I was going back to his book the other day, I was just like, oh my goodness. You read it the first time and the second time and the third time, then you go back to it and you're like, oh wow, this applies to now. So that's the definition. But I really wanted to get into a little bit further in the book where he actually identifies some issues in Gnosticism. And I don't want this to be too long, so I'm going to try to make this short if I can. But he identifies what we have identified as well, that this does go back to Gnosticism, goes back to the Gnostic Valentinus of the 2nd century. And what I'm amazed is where it goes from there and the different people and movements that this particular theology or ideas or concepts are changed, morphed, and kind of threaded out through many different movements, many different people throughout the ages. Just starting with the Gnostic Valentinus, just a couple things that Steve says in his book, which is amazing, considering what we've been talking about. Concerning perfection, through the sacrament of the bridal chamber, the elect becomes possessed by the light, their personal bridegroom angel. Amazing how much we heard about a bridal paradigm at IHOP and bridegroom and using as well Song of Solomon, but that it's the sacrament and that it's going to be birthed in a bridal chamber. It goes on to say the elite allowed the seed of light. Interesting, because Chris Berglund is talking about a seed all the time, talking about light. He wants to liken it to Hebrews, the imperishable seed. We're saying that you're using Jesus and you're putting him into a Gnostic system, and then using the system to get where you need to go. But the seed of light will take up its abode in the bridal chamber. They were prompted to receive their bridegroom, to take him into themselves, and to be taken by him, something we heard at IHOP all the time, whether it was on stage through a message or whether it was in song. It was all about being taken by him. But again, the Gnostic Valentinus to achieve a mystical transformation of the body in the here and now. Once again, we're seeing so much of that today. A couple other things. Valentinian Gnosticism has brought sacred politics back to the West. That's what this movement is. It's political. It's about power. And it is totally about politics, sacred politics, at least what they would call sacred. A Valentinian Gnostic will grasp political power in order to usher in the final and complete triumph of truth, the coming of which is their duty to realize. But just moving on in the book, Steve highlights Kabbalah. Again, some of the same themes, perfection and dominion. Highly recommend this outline. But we get to the 17th century in a prophetess who is named Jane Lead. Much of the latter rain borrows terminology from Jane Lead. And I read this quite a few times before. I've listened to Steve Montgomery, but I went back after doing this series. And I just can't believe how close this is to what they're actually teaching today. And again, she is an esoterically inspired 17th century prophetess concerning perfection. How shall it be that a spirit should thus be mingled and made one with thee? Answered, it was thus shall each one become a Christ. Exactly what Dean Briggs says. Triumphant victory shall be given to the holy overcomers. The overcomers, what we've been talking about, the elite group that's going to overcome and take over the world for Jesus. Listen to this. Becoming a member of the royal Melchizedek priesthood will bring about the return of prophecy and miracles in greater measure than before. That sounds exactly like Bob Jones. But I want to highlight the Melchizedek priesthood. Well, it's interesting, Chris Berglund, that's your whole system. Melchizedek priesthood. Seems like you didn't get that from a dream. You just borrowed it from the 17th century. Christ's second coming and his representatives here on earth will be the personating of Christ and his saints. Sounds like exactly what they're saying. Again, what is this man-child? We're going back to the 17th century. Man-child company. Overcomers. Melchizedek priesthood. This great cloud of witnesses will descend into bodily vehicles. They talk about the great cloud of witnesses. And of course, her emphasis on this at the Feast of Tabernacles, which was the weekend of the Communion America, which is very important to these teachers. Just and perfect spirits do rise to deify it in a godded nature. Spirits descend, spirits shall descend, and a more intimate union will be brought down. Mortality will be swallowed up in immortality. Union. Again, I was reading this the other day and I just couldn't believe, since I took a deep dive into all things Great Communion Revival, Chris Berglund, all the teaching, probably not even close to all the teaching, but a lot of it. And wow, does it look like that? Wow, does it look like it's come from Gnostic thought through the centuries into the prophetess Jane Lead, through a number of individuals after that, right directly into the latter rain. And all of this manifest sonship teaching comes directly from the latter rain. It's now repackaged, regurgitated. It's all there for our taking. Manifest sonship, manifest sons of God. Combine that with the fact that all the esoteric world is going to converge with this. It's all gonna come to one eventually. So anyway, I wanted to take this opportunity to just say, well, encourage you, study this stuff if you can, because it's so helpful in bringing this across. You're going to encounter more and more people that are a part of these movements, and these movements are not just in the NAR, so to speak. These little theologies and nuances get threaded right down into denominations. We are dealing with that with the church that we have been attending as well, where the missions program supports obviously a group of missionaries all over the world. Well, some of these missionaries have threads of either manifest sons of God, dominion, whatever it may be. And so the local church ends up supporting that. The local church ends up bringing it in with music, with culture, with the way that we do church these days. So you'll be better equipped to handle this as we move forward into uncertain times, really waters that none of us have been in before, but we're all in it together. So, man, I just want to encourage everybody to do that and get in the Word. Brothers and sisters, get in the Word. Pray, seek the Lord, get in your prayer closet, seek Him while He may be found. What a blessing to be able to come to you. What a blessing to be able to share this with you. God is just blessing Barb and I tremendously by hearing about your stories and your comments, and you're working through all of this and fighting that good fight of faith, as there are so many around right now that just want to knock you off your path. So God bless you in your effort, and I hope this encourages you. Brothers and sisters, get in the Word, study it. I guess that's all I have for now, but little intermission right in between, where we're heading with a couple more videos and end up this series. And man, we have a lot of things planned from there as God wills. God bless you. Have a great day.